and welcome back to Tuesdays with Tuesday. I'm Tuesday, and I write fantasy fiction under the name Mary E. Twomey. How do you spell it? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. That's how you spell it, Twomey. So if you go to maryetwomey.com, you can see the entire series, which is already released if you go under the Tearaway heading. So you go to books, and then you click on Tearaway, and then you'll see all 9 books already published, already out, already ready for you to read. All of them are available on paperback, hardback, ebook, and audiobook, and I do not narrate, so you're in luck. An actual professional narrator does it, because while I can't do the professional stuff very well, I can hire people who do. Yay! Today, we are going to read chapter 25. Are you ready? Are you cozy? If you're not cozy, this isn't going to be as fun. Chapter 25, Laying Down the Law. My eyes went wide as Langham's fist salute was repeated across the room. Each of them stood, dipping their heads in respect to whatever it is I was supposed to be to them. I turned to give Vaughn a what the crap look, but he was doing the same thing, eyes wide with what looked like reverence. I waved off the sincerity from everyone. All right, knock it off. I think I liked you all better when you were fighting. I haven't actually done anything to bring peace or whatever to your world, so don't get your hopes that high. Ezra's voice was quiet, respecting the awe that fell over the room. If you have the Sagrado Stone, and if you can touch it without turning to stone yourself, then you can also break it for us. What would happen is that you would travel to the 7 nations, break off a piece of the rock, and bury it there. As long as the rock stays there, the land will prosper. Then you and Mary Yang will only have to reap 1 person a day to keep Tearaway afloat. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Sounds like the plan will work like this. I can start training to reap or pull or do cartwheels or whatever tomorrow morning. I'll reap as many souls as I can in the next few days so I can build up enough time to go to Lang's world and bring the Sagrado Stone to his people without more of you all starving. Murmurs of dissent broke out, and I wondered if that was the right move. Titus's was the first voice to rise above the din. Why should Sukuna deserves the first pieces? His bug eyes accused me. When Mary Yang reaps the souls, his land is the last to get fed, which means they are the most desperate. That's right, I pay attention. When the goblin went to open his mouth again, I glared at him, making sure he knew how vicious my wrath would be if he kept being a pain. And that's how it's going to be. I'll start there and work my way through your world, popping back up whenever we need to refill the soul supply. I frowned, though I don't actually know how easy that part is, popping in and out of your world. Not to mention the whole breathing issue. Lang raised his finger. I can do it. Only the people here on the council and select officials can transport another person in and out. Some entry gates are a week's trek from one side of the nation to the other, so it'll take some time. Lang stood, his expression tight but sincere. If you'll let me, I'll escort you through Sukuna, and as much of the rest of Tearaway as you need. For putting my father's land first, I owe you to see this through until the end. This seemed to mollify Titus a little, his big watery eyes blinking twice up at Lang. Good. I think you shoulds. That's what I just said, Lang growled. Sylvia broke in with an argumentative tone. Lumapad is next. Our people are desperate. Finn scoffed. Your people are cannibals. Ekeks and Monarchs add nothing to Tearaway. Sylvia was livid, whirling on Finn. We have just as much of a right to the stone as anyone. Finn sat back in his chair, waving her off as if she was a fly who buzzed out of turn. I wouldn't care if your whole race up and fed on itself, chipping away at your weaker ones until there was nothing left. Extinction doesn't seem like a bad idea for all the problems Lumapad has. Sylvia stood and grabbed the hilt of her sword. I knew if she drew it, things would go south real fast. My voice was sharp, cutting through the escalating argument. Finn, knock it off. And Sylvia, I know you don't need to be told not to draw a weapon in Mary Yang's home. Girlfriend's trying to sleep up there so she can be bright-eyed to serve your world tomorrow. Show some respect. I donned a sweeter tone as I stood. Thank you for your offer to help me, Lang. Then if that's all, I'll see the rest of you when I cross through your land. Lang, Ezra can keep in touch with you to let you know when we've got enough souls stocked up to where we're ready to leave for Tearaway. This brought about a lot of dissent from the ranks. Everyone had something to say about the Sagrado Stone. No one could touch it, but no one wanted it out of their sight either. I held up my hands to quiet them. I couldn't believe it actually worked. They seemed so attached to their tempers that flared on a dime. Anyone can come with me to help deliver the stone, but if it's going to be more bickering, y'all can stay home. I slapped my hands together twice. Now, if you don't mind, I'm beat, so I'm turning in. I jerked my thumb toward the door. Caballo, don't you even think about coming with us on the journey if you don't personally wash my car before you head home. And I mean right now, mister. If you can't serve, then you can't lead. Plain and simple. Be a good leader. You've yet to show me you're anything more than a donkey with a crown. You heard it here first. I won't work with a jackass. Caballo whinnied contemptuously and stood to tower over me from across the table. Yeah, that's probably the line I shouldn't have danced over. Vaughn covered his mouth and chuckled into his hand, coughing to cover his laugh when I narrowed my eyes at him. You want to help him? I challenged. Vaughn shook his head through his delighted grin at a king being put in his place. No, ma'am. I turned to Ezra. I'm going home now. Do I have to take Vaughn and Mason, or can I please just go? Ezra looked pleased that I deferred to him. Let's discuss that out here. Gentlemen, he said to Vaughn and Mason, waving for them to follow. Ezra wrapped his arm around my shoulder and guided me out of the room. He shut the conference room doors behind us and led me, Mason, and Vaughn down the hall to the living room. That was brilliant! He kept his voice quiet, but his celebratory joy was obvious on his face. His unfettered smile made him look like a much younger man. I was worried about them trying to control you, but you handled that beautifully. I must learn to use the camera feature on my phone so I can record King Caballo washing your car. Mason sniggered. Do you think he'll actually do it? He will if he wants to travel with the stone. I offered up a tired smile to the guys. I'm heading out as soon as Caballo's done, then. Ezra straightened, smoothing his tie. If you could stay here tonight, that would be ideal. You and Mason can stay in Vaughn's room. I'll see about having one of the larger rooms converted for the three of you to share once things get settled down. I pursed my lips so I didn't speak the indignant words I was thinking. I appreciate the offer, but I don't live here. I have a house all my own and a brother I want to see. I've gone along with everything else pretty well, but I'm putting my foot down on this one. Until we go to Tearaway, I am sleeping in my own bed. Ezra looked like he wanted to argue, but nodded with great reluctance. Okay, if that's your sticking point, I guess there's no use in telling you it's unguarded, and that my house is far safer. I've never had my boobs grabbed in my own house, I argued, but then I shook my head and pinched the bridge of my nose. I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that. It's been a long day. I'll go home and meet you all here in the morning. Ezra shook his head. Now it's my turn to put my foot down. Mason and Vaughn are your reapers now. They sleep where you sleep. They go where you go. I'll be sending Danny tonight so he can train them and make sure they know what they're doing. He can even put up charms around your home to ward off attacks. The charms part sounds cool. I scratched to the backs of my hands, wishing the sting would relieve more of the pressure I felt building inside of me like a dense gas. But I live alone, and I like it that way. I'm sorry, but that's not an option anymore. Ezra was resolute. My hackles rose on instinct, but I knew fighting him when I was so tired wouldn't be productive. You can crash at my place tonight because I'm too beat to argue with you, but we are not done discussing this. I look forward to the debate, dear. Ezra motioned to Vaughn. Pack a bag, son. Mason, you can borrow whatever you need and make yourself comfortable for now. It's time to take October home. Tell Danny he's to make sure her house is secure tonight. Yes, sir. Vaughn cast me a sympathetic smile and trotted away with his hands shoved in his pockets, cigar in his teeth. I swallowed a lump in my throat and stared down the barrel of unexpected house guests with no end in sight. That brings us to the end of chapter 25. Holy crap, we are more than halfway through. Like, look, we're more than halfway through. Just barely more, but still, that counts. That's pretty good. I'm really proud of us for reading all that many chapters together. We are amazing. If you want to read ahead, remember, go to maryetomey.com and you can download the ebook for free right now and read ahead if you like. Or just keep it on your Kindle for when you're like, oh, we finished this book together, but I kind of want to reread it because it's funsies. Yeah, absolutely do that too. Thank you for integrating me into your day today. I enjoyed spending time with you, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday for Tuesdays with Tuesday.